Oh wow, you see the difference?
Wow.
Big difference in the color.
Very big difference. Oh my goodness.
Hey friends, Lissa here. We have a very special guest, John Kohler from Growing Your Greens OK Raw. We're going to be doing some really cool vacuum blender, regular blender kind of comparisons, and he's going to tell us all the good stuff about why you should be using a vacuum blender. So stay tuned.
Alright, this is John Kohler with OKRaw.com to another exciting episode for you. In this episode, I really want to get you guys that are eating a raw foods diet, or even a plant-based diet, or even just using your blender a lot. I want you guys to start vacuum blending. It does make such a huge difference. I've been using vacuum blenders, I don't even know, for like 3 years, and before I even found out about vacuum blenders and I couldn't even buy one in the US, I made my own. My goal with this video is to get you to start vacuum blending. I don't care if you guys gotta make your own vacuum blender, if you guys gotta find a cheap one. There's a good one on eBay right now for 69 bucks you could buy. Or if you have a Vitamix, I'm gonna show you guys how you can turn your Vitamix into a vacuum blender by buying a kit that will allow you to do so. I get friends of mine that have been raw foodists for a long time, and some of my friends are really cool friends because why? I tell them about new technologies, things that really work. I'm not trying to hear to bullshit anybody. Told them about it. They're like, that makes sense. They did it. They got one, and they've been using it, and it makes sense to them. Some other friends I won't mention, I tell them about it, and then it goes in one ear and out the other. I don't really need to do that. I don't really. And then actually, one of my friends I'm thinking about, I bought a vacuum blender. It's my spare one, and I let them borrow it. Once they got to use it, now they love to vacuum blend, but if I just told them about it, they never would use it. And I know a lot of you guys watch my videos, you know about vacuum blending, but you're just not doing it. And I really want you guys to start doing it because it does seriously will make a difference in your life. Without changing anything else, keep your same recipes. I don't care if you guys don't eat more nutrient dense like I do and eat more plants with higher levels of phytonutrients. If you just switch out your blender crap and make the same recipes you're making now, your blended recipes will, number one, taste better. They're going to be more nutritious for you. They're going to store longer, so you're going to have less food waste. You're going to get less gas and bloating because you're not swallowing a bunch of air when you're blending up your smoothies, soups, or salad dressings. It's just really the way to go, guys. So in this episode, you're not going to just hear from me. You're going to also hear from raw food romance herself, Lissa, and also her amazing husband, Nate. And you're gonna get their opinions on vacuum blending because they got the vacuum blending solution that I'll be showing you guys in a minute. And they've had it for several weeks now, and they've been using it, and they just keep raving to me about it. And I want to share that with you guys because I want you guys to know what Raw Foodist thinks of vacuum blending. Chris Kendall, Chris heard a message from him today. He wants to get another vacuum blender. He's really hooked on the idea. He has his own videos on comparing vacuum blending to not and how to convert your Vitamix into a vacuum blender, doing it the hokey way if you want to do that. Hey, I don't care how you guys get to do it. I want you guys just to vacuum blend, and that's my whole goal with this video. So in this episode today, I'll be sharing with you guys the BioChef kit that is available at discountjuicers.com. So I will straight up tell you guys, I sell this kit, and I have seen it make a big difference in people's lives. Their smoothies taste better, and you know, now they don't want to not vacuum blend anymore once they start using it, right? So you guys know how vacuum storing your food can help preserve your food and keep it fresher longer. I mean, if you might have seen the Tilia Food Saver infomercial back in the, 80s or 90s, or even if you go to Costco and buy things in bulk, they sell the Food Saver there. People know that really works. Why does that work? Because you're removing oxygen from the food, so the foods are not being oxidized. They don't spoil as fast because you're not encouraging bacteria growth, because bacteria, many of them, need oxygen to breathe, and mold and all these things need oxygen. But when you remove the oxygen, you allow things to store fresher for longer, keep higher levels of nutrition. I mean, even things like berries and nuts and seeds, dried foods can store significantly longer if you remove the oxygen. Most of you guys might make some lettuce, chop some lettuce and have it pre-prepared and have it in a Ziploc bag, right? If we look at this bag, there's still lots of air in here. I mean, this is the air that's fluffed up in the bag. This is causing the lettuce to oxidize faster, right? If you guys don't want to store lettuce, with the oxygen, you could do that in a special bag that comes with the BioChef. They give you sample bags. This is a special bag with a stronger zipper seal. This has even a thicker plastic. It is BPA free than this, and this is like reusable multiple times. It also has a little port on here. So if you look at that port, we're gonna go ahead and take this pump, that comes with this kit so you can vacuum blend in your Vitamix, but you can also vacuum store your foods. We're gonna go ahead and put this pump on and just press the button. You guys can see the air being sucked out of this bag, and this bag being compressed, and your lettuce is now being compressed and compressed. Very slowly. It's very important you hold this firmly down, and when it's sucked all the vacuum out, this thing stops. And now you can see this lettuce has basically very little extra oxygen in there. You know, likewise, I know a lot of you guys love to make your smoothies, right? And what's his favorite smoothie ingredient? No, it's not dates, it's bananas. Everybody loves their bananas. Most people might store their bananas in a standard Ziploc bag, right? When you store a Ziploc bag bananas, right, and if you eat them a lot, that's great, but like me, I don't eat a lot of bananas. They're not a very nutrient-dense food, but I like to have some frozen bananas on hand to make amazing smoothies. But the problem is, if you store bananas like this, and I know you guys have done this, right, in a Ziploc bag, and look, there's lots of extra airspace in there, and then you don't eat bananas in the next month or 2 months, you go to your freezer, you open this up, and it's like, these are like black, they're oxidized. That's the oxygen damage happening and the freezer burn happening to your bananas. Don't let that happen to your bananas. You don't need to let that happen to your bananas if you get the BioChef kit that will work with your Vitamix so you can vacuum blend, but also store your food fresher for longer so you don't have food waste, right? So what we're gonna do, instead of storing them like this, we got, once again, those vacuum bags, make sure it's fully sealed. Make sure it's fully sealed. And we got frozen bananas in here that were frozen on like a plate and then put in here. So now they're not gonna stick together either when you freeze them. We're gonna put this bag down and we're gonna go ahead and take this pump and put it right on this little air valve and make sure we push it down and press the button. And you can hear the bag crinkle up, and look at that. Literally all the extra air is being sucked out. Now it stops, but now I want to put it back down and then press it again. I'm going to try to suck out even more air out of the bag. The more air you suck out, the better it's going to last, because now there's not the oxygen in the bag that's going to cause your food to spoil, food to brown, and cause all that extra freezer burn, all the frost buildup, because it can't, because there's no extra oxygen in there for that to happen. Plus, because we already pre-froze these bananas, you know, this is probably literally the best way to do it. I'm lazy and I just usually put fresh bananas in one of these bags and suck all the air out, and sometimes the bananas get smushed because the vacuum pump could smush the bananas. But look at this. This is totally vacuum packed, vacuum sealed. It's like form-fitting, or storing your bananas just like this in the air. If I like store these for like a month and come back, trust me, these will be brown. These will pretty much look just like they look now. And that's how I store all my bananas. And especially if you have berries, very important to do your berries just like this, because berries oxidize and berries have significantly more phytonutrients than simply the bananas do. So hopefully you understand the concept of vacuum storing your food, and that oxygen, when you're storing your food, will cause it to spoil and go bad faster. Now I want you guys to think about this. When you guys are blending up food, what are you doing? Well, you're grinding foods down. It's chopping up into micro fine particles. But if you ever looked in the middle of your blender, there's like a vortex funnel cone going in. It's like a tornado that can rip up houses, right? The vortex funnel cone is very destructive. It's just tons of air that's being introduced into your smoothie. So if you start with this much mixture and you just use a traditional blender, your mixture when you're done is gone up like a ½ inch. You're like, whoa, I just created food out of thin air. No, you didn't. You didn't create food out of thin air. You just added a lot of oxygen, a ½ inch worth of oxygen into your smoothie. What does the oxygen do to your smoothie? Well, number one, it adds oxygen, so when you drink it, you could have more gas and bloating. You could get bloated. Nobody wants to look bloated. You don't want to look bloated, do you? But it also lowers the nutrition. All the oxygen being pumped in bombards the cell walls as they're being blown open with the high-speed blades that run over 200 miles an hour, according to Vitamix, on their Vitamix, to basically break the food open their cell walls. So now all the nutrients in the cell walls are now being blown open, are now being introduced with oxygen and being pumped oxygen in there. I mean, oxygenation happens significantly faster when you're blending than when you are storing your food. So that's why you want to vacuum blend, so that you don't get the oxidative damage to the food. There's a published study that shows you could have 2 to 3 times more polyphenol and other antioxidants, like in blueberries, for example, that they tested. you know. And when you do that, there's other benefits you get besides more nutrition, because I'm all about nutrition, but you also get better flavor, because flavors are nutrients that you're losing when you're blending with oxygen. Foods will taste better, especially if you do Instagram. They will look nicer because you're going to keep the colors. You're not going to have it overinflated with extra oxygen. They're going to even store better, and I'm going to show you guys how to store the foods better in this video. So the next thing I want to do is we're going to get special guest Lissa from Raw Food Romance, who has written many recipe books. She's definitely a really excellent chef. I would recommend her books highly because her food tastes amazing. Everything that I've tasted at her place, or wherever place now, tastes amazing. So we're gonna get her in to share her thoughts about vacuum blending after using it for about a month or so. All right, so we're here with Lissa. And Lissa, you wanna share your experience with regular Vitamix blending without the vacuum, and now for about a month now, I think you've been using the vacuum and your experiences with all my viewers today.
Yeah, so I've wanted a vacuum blender for a long time, but I just never got around to it, and I'm kicking myself because I wish I would have gotten it sooner.
Why? Why did you want to get one?
Because now it's just like, oh my gosh, it's unreal. I love the consistency, the flavor, the fact that it stores, and because I just wrote the soup book. And so making all the recipes for the soup book, when you blend the base on high for 2 minutes to warm it up, right?
Oh my gosh, that's so much oxidation. And you do
Right?
that not in a vacuum?
Yeah,
Oh my god.
exactly, right?
You committed a sin.
So it's like I get all of the soup base ready to go, and when you take the lid off, it's full of bubbles. So if you want to have a nice picture, because I'm all about the photography, it's like full of the bubbles, right? So you're like skimming it off, and it's taking so much extra time, like not even talking about the nutrition or anything, but like just the presentation alone. So that was like one of my favorite things.
Wow, so you understand
Yeah.
that because you really had to make pictures and not have it look all bubbly.
Exactly. And I found that marinara is like the vacuum blender is a game changer with marinaras.
What happens differently?
The bubbles and the color and the flavor. The flavor is just like next level with the vacuum blender. And Nate and I are just like, we're never gonna use our old blender craft ever again. Unless we're making ice cream, because it doesn't have a tamper. But other than that, it's like 100% vacuum blender.
So what's so different about the flavor? I mean, I say it's different, but why should people believe me or you saying, I'm just paying you off, Lissa, right?
Right? Thanks, John. But no, really, the flavor is almost like you're tasting the realness of the food. You can taste, like you said, the air, right? When it is full of the air, you're tasting a lot of the air with the food, as opposed to just the food. So you get like that intensity, plus since it's not getting oxidized, it saves the flavor. So it's just overall better. Like smoothies are better, soups are better, sauces are better, dips are better. Everything is better with it. I just love it.
All right, Lissa, so today what we're gonna do is we're gonna make one of your dressing recipes out of your book, and I want you to plug your book here real quick. So that, because I've had several of your recipes. Actually, I had a salad over here about a week ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, this tastes better than a raw food restaurant that I go to. And it's like, I really want to let people know that like this is actually a recipes that I would approve of, that's healthy, but yet tasty at the same time. There's lots of like really recipe books that are raw, that are really simple and bland. And then there's ones that are overcomplicated and like too much extra crap in there. Yours is like a really good balance of actually healthy, but also really excellent tasting, because she really likes her spices a lot.
Yes, definitely lots of spices. And also making sure that you hit all of the flavor
Notes.
points, in a dressing. I get lots of people who are like, well, I don't want it to be sweet. I want it to be just savory. But you can't have a just savory sauce. You need to have like one date or a little fruit or something to get all of those flavor palettes. So I designed these recipes to be as delicious as possible, and the vacuum blender just makes them like epic. Even better. So so we're gonna make one of the dressings.
And so how does somebody buy your book? Like, what's your website? Or they can buy it, you know, like a printed copy like that, or they could get the ebook version, right?
Yeah, so the ebook version I have 40% off pretty much all the time. You can use code RAWFOOD40 to get that, and the link is in my bio on Instagram or on my website payhip.com/rawfoodromance. The print versions, however, you need to go through Amazon. So if you search Melissa Raimondi or Melissa Maris, I'm still changing over my name, but either or, you can find them on Amazon, and they're print on demand. So if you order it, they ship it, they print it and ship it to you. So
cool. I'll put links down below so you can check out her amazing recipe book. All right, Lissa, so what is the recipe that we'll be making today?
Well, this recipe is from the Meal Plan 3 book, and it's called Mango Tango.
All right.
So yeah, this is our Bio Chef craft. So we're gonna be using this on this side.
And then I have a standard Vitamix carafe over for this side.
So we have the exact same ingredients in both blenders, and we're going to blend it up, one with the vacuum blender and the other one just regular.
All right, so let me explain this for you guys. So how this works, much like pulling the air out of a bag, we pull the air out of the bag. Now that the air, there's no air in this bag. We got to pull the extra air out of the carafe here, and you can't do that with a standard Vitamix. This is not airtight seal, and you also have this little hole in here, and you could maybe do some kind of plug to get the hole in there and get some kind of pump if you want to do some kind of hokey thing. But basically, the BioChef carafe here is a BPA free, and actually this carafe that I have, this old carafe, this Vitamix carafe, is made out of BPA. So I want you guys to know the difference. You guys have a carafe like this, and you tap it. You hear the high pitch, and if we take this other carafe here, even though it looks like the same thing, and we tap this, hear that it's lower pitch. So if you tap yours and you have a lower pitch, that's good because this is a BPA free material. This one is also the BPA free material. If you have the BPA carafe, I would highly suggest you get a different carafe. Whether you want to get this BioChef version that has a vacuum in addition to being BPA free, I think you guys should do that. I'm not a big fan of BPA at all. There's lots of studies on how nasty that stuff is. So to use this, it's super simple. There's only one extra step. You just use this vacuum pump that you're gonna put on top of the carafe. You're gonna make sure your lid's down, make sure your lid is clean, the seals, and you're just gonna go ahead and press this button right here. This pump comes on, it plugs in, so no batteries are required. And what's happening now is that it's sucking all the excess oxygen out of the carafe, right? And sometimes if you look closely, you might even see some bubbles coming out of the liquid in the bottom. And sometimes it'll pull the extra air out of even the fruits that are like, you know, like apples, there's airspace in the fruits, or tomatoes, it'll pull the excess oxygen out of that. So what's happening now is the pump comes on, it sucks all the excess oxygen out of here. So now you have base, and the other thing is the lid will kind of go down a little bit. If you look, this lid will get a little bit concave. So now you could blend in an oxygen deprived environment so that when you blend up and break the cell walls open, you're not introducing all the extra air and mixing in air and all the oxygen in with your blend that we will be doing over on this side. All right, so what happens is this vacuum shut off, and when you're done, there's a little button on the bottom that allows you to release the whole vacuum unit, and then you're ready to blend this up and just put it on the blender. It fits perfectly on the blender. So all right, Lissa, so we're gonna go ahead and I guess turn this on and crank it up to high at the same time.
Here we go.
All right, so we ran it for a little bit of time, and you're like, how is that different, John? On this guy, we just took the lid off, but on this guy, what you have to do is, you can see the levels, right? The levels are even. Why is that any different? How did this put air in there? Well, here's the thing. This is still under vacuum, so we got to take this little tab on the top, and we have to pull it, but watch carefully when I pull this, right? You guys seeing the level. You see the level drop down on there? Now, once you pull this up, you gotta basically keep kind of pulling this little tab up, and I basically get my finger in there to pull this off while you're pulling the tab up, otherwise it's an airlock, so you can't pull it off. And then you can see the mixtures. I guess you guys probably can't see that too well. We'll pour it out for you guys, but you know, one of them is darker than the other one.
Yeah, mine is definitely darker. You can really tell. And we use the same ingredients in both.
Exact amount, same, yeah, so we're gonna pour both mixtures into the jar. And I don't know if you guys can see the difference in the color on there, but like this one's lighter because it's also introduced the air. it's also oxidized more, and then this one's more solid. Now the cool thing about vacuum blending, once you vacuum blended, right, you didn't damage the nutrients as much, especially those antioxidants. So if you didn't damage the antioxidants as much, now that you want to store it or even eat it, there'll be more antioxidants in there to nourish you or even to protect the food after you're done blending. If you blended the antioxidants up by adding all that extra air, the antioxidants are no longer in there. So the classic example, and we'll be making a smoothie next, is if you just standard blend a smoothie with bananas, you drink it, it tastes fine. You leave it sit for a couple hours because you made too much and you try to drink it later, it tastes nasty. But if you made the same smoothie under vacuum with bananas, you drink it now, tastes even better. And you let it sit because you're too full, you drink it later, it tastes about the same. So that's amazing. But the cool thing about the vacuum system is that you can now vacuum store your food, so you can make things in big batches so that you don't have to like make every single meal. You can make a big batch of salad dressing, every Sunday, and then you could use this during the week. Or you could even, like we'll do in a second, we're gonna basically mix the salad dressing in with the lettuce and then we're gonna store it. And you could store that for several days, so you could basically batch prep your food, which is gonna save you guys time because a lot of you guys work every day, and you could do this like on a Sunday, and that's how I make my food. I prepare one day a week, and the days always shift. I'll make a bunch of my salad, and I'll make salad for the next 4 days. Or sometimes I'll make soup, and I'll make the soup for the next 7 days, or even 10 days by using this vacuum storage method. So now what we're gonna do for you guys, we're gonna put these aside, and we're actually gonna make a salad, and we're gonna try the salad vacuum blended versus not. You saw the difference in color, but how does this affect flavor? Well, you're gonna hear from me, Lissa, and Nate on how the salad tastes.
Yes, so we are going to take our lettuce. Actually, we can use this one. This is actually how Nate and I take our lettuce when we go camping. So we'll chop it up 3 days in advance, and then we just vacuum seal it, and it stays fresh in our cooler. It's really, really great tip too if you're traveling. We're going to make some salads here.
That's a non-vacuum blended on that side.
Non-vacuum. Okay, and we'll do that on this side too. Okay. And then this almost seems a little bit thicker too. The consistency is definitely different.
Yeah, the consistency is gonna be a little bit different when you vacuum blend, especially if you're blending like high amounts of fats. There's not a lot of fat in this recipe, but higher fat recipes, they kind of get more kind of fluffy. So if I've made like avocado mousse in a standard blender, it really gets flattened. But if you make the same mousse in a vacuum blender, oh my gosh, it's like the next level, because like the taste sensation is not like compacted. It's more fluffy in your mouth, and it just tastes better to me.
So good.
All right, so let's see. We got two sides, so let's first try which side should we try first, Lissa?
Oh, let's try
non-vacuum.
Yeah.
All right, salad dressing without vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good dressing.
I'm glad you like it.
This is how most people just eat their dressing.
Yeah.
Like, why is this wrong? Or bad. Tastes good to me. Let me cleanse my palate.
Okay. Yeah, just really like absorb it.
All right, so that was a good dressing. I mean, I really just tastes like a dressing, but now I'm going to try the vacuum blended. I don't know. Will this will taste significantly different, vacuum blended versus not?
Let's see.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I taste that it's like so much sweeter.
Peppers.
It's
and
way sweeter, and I taste the peppers are just like boom, hitting my mouth.
Wow, that's like way more. Wow.
It's like much more flavorful, like sweeter and more like peppery, like
way more
like
peppery.
hotter.
Yeah, it is definitely hotter. And
you really taste the flavors better. Yeah.
So even if you're growing your own food, right? Like if you use the vacuum blend, you get more out of growing your own.
You get more out of your own food.
Yeah.
You get more nutrients, more flavor out of your own food. Let's get Nate in here to see if Nate can taste the difference.
Come on in.
All right. Look at this. You guys have lunch made for me?
Right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so which
this
side's
side,
which?
This side is the regular blended.
Regular blended. Okay.
So while Nate's eating that, Lissa, what is in this recipe for those of you guys that want to make this recipe? Because it is the bomb.
Thank you. So we had 1 big whole mango in each one. We had 3 stalks of green onion. We had a tablespoon of miso in each, 4 dates, some onion powder, some garlic. I think I put 2 cloves in each one, some smoked paprika, and some Calabrian chilies, a jalapeno, and a red jalapeno from your
It is so good. It is so good. This is the side that's blended?
Yeah,
I mean,
this
vacuumed?
one's vacuumed, yeah.
Okay. That one that was not vacuumed was really delicious. Okay, let's try this.
Really let it sit.
Mm. Wow.
Right?
It's a
What tastes different to you? Like, how does it taste different?
Okay, well, definitely sweeter. I can feel that the heat, you know, the taste of those peppers a little bit more, like, just definitely stronger flavor.
The way it was meant to taste.
Yeah, the way it was meant to taste, not like, you know, damaged by the blender. Like, literally, I would say it's damaged by the blender.
My gosh. Yeah, incredible. Wow, what a trip.
I know, see? And I'm like,
Once
why
you
didn't
go
I get
vacuum
this?
blended,
Like, yep.
once you go vacuum blended, you don't go back.
No,
I mean-
that's for sure.
Of course, the other side is delicious, but
How
understanding.
much more delicious is it?
Yeah, understanding too also that you'd be able to save it. Because that's the thing is like, you know, if we're making a regular dressing or a dressing just without the vacuum blend, it doesn't, I mean, depending on the kind of dressing, some of the lower fat dressings don't seem like they really last. They don't really like taste that good after a couple of days. The higher fat ones definitely do. But man, I wonder, I mean, if we're gonna be able to store this for like
Yes.
possibly
Up to a week.
Up to a
To a
week.
week,
Yeah.
then we can just make like double, triple, quadruple batches. We can make lunch for the next 3 days in
Yeah.
one
And
go.
of course, this isn't our first time trying this. Like we got this blender from John. John suggested it. It makes perfect sense because, of course, like they're explaining, you take the air out of the bag. But we do those smoothies in the morning, and it is so incredible because you know if you make a regular smoothie, it just has more air in it. You can taste it like it's like frothy almost. But now when we make the smoothies with the vacuum, it is so thick and so creamy. And like John was saying, you can have it sit on the counter, like maybe you're busy or whatever, and you go do something, you come back an hour or 2 later, and it's still thick and creamy. Like even the separation isn't
Yeah,
Way
happening.
less
that's
separation.
true too. Yeah.
So
you don't have
I'm-
the water at the
Yeah,
bottom.
I mean, I'm 100% sold. And I've been telling my friends too who do blending, like, hey, you guys should check out, you know, the BioChef. What is cool is like, you know, you can bring this with you anywhere you want because like,
Yeah, you can put some batteries in on the top here.
Yeah.
You can unscrew this, many people don't know. And you can put
Yeah.
batteries.
I think it takes like 6 double.
Yeah, it takes 6 double A's in here.
So if you're doing
Yeah.
like a camping trip or something, but incredible. Thanks you guys. That was awesome.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no worries.
So you guys heard that making salad dressings are amazing, and the other thing that's important for me is that I want you guys to food prep and meal prep so that you never have to be stuck without food or health food to eat. Again, your raw foods, your plant-based, plant-strong diets, right? That's why I do a lot of meal prepping. I mean, anytime my fridge, if you come into my house, open the fridge, I have seriously like 20 jars. Like these jars all stored under vacuum in my fridge. Most of them are usually juices. I have a vegetable juice, like my green juice, my turmeric root juice, my root juice. I have all different kinds of juices that I can grab and drink whenever I want. But I also have pre-made salads and soups that I'm always eating. So now I want to show you guys actually how to store your food, because if you're making it in a vacuum and you didn't impart the oxygen in there, this will store longer, and you could do that with this system, the BioChef system. So now I want to show you guys how you can meal prep with the BioChef vacuum blending kit with that pump that comes in super handy. We got a bowl here. We're gonna go ahead and take our already pre-cut lettuce. You could cut your own lettuce if you want.
You can even add all kinds of other
Yeah, you
stuff.
can add other things. I mean, I'll do this recipe, but I'll use a lot more than lettuce. I'll use like, you know, tomatoes from my garden, cucumbers, you know, red onions, and then we're gonna get that all in a bowl, and we're gonna go ahead and spoon off some of the dressing because we kind of filled these a bit too much. Optimally, you'd only want to use the vacuum blended dressing, but we have both dressings today, so we're gonna use both because we're gonna need to take a little bit off of each one. But even the consistency when I'm scooping these out seem to be a little bit different, and also I wanna show you guys up close, like, you guys can see the color difference, right? This one's a lot more deeper, richer color, and this one's a lot more, you know, looking more oxidized there. I think we need to get one more scoop off of this. And then what we're gonna do is we're just gonna go ahead and mix and toss this salad. You wanna do that?
Yeah.
Now while she's doing that, I wanna show you guys how you could store your mixture under vacuum, right? Let's see, I'm gonna show you guys the cool technique first. So the cool technique is you're gonna go ahead and take a flat lid. These come with your mason jars. I recommend the wide mouth. They are always easier to clean. We're gonna go ahead and take a flat lid and put it over the top of the jar. Now you could get a food saver attachment to basically suck the, you know, the air out of this guy with the jars alone, but I'm gonna show you guys an easy trick. You're gonna wanna have some electrical tape. We have red electrical tape, but normally it's black. Very cheap, man, like 50 cents a roll. You're gonna need like a puncher. So you could use like a push pin, right? And this is another kind of tool with like a push pin. We're just basically gonna pop a hole, just a little hole, small tiny hole in the top of a lid, right? And we're gonna do one on both. So this is gonna be an air port. Now this is an airport, like not an airport where planes take off, but a little port that the air can come out of. We're gonna go ahead and take and pull off a little bit of tape, maybe like, I don't know, like an inch or so. You're gonna cut the tape, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and take the scissors and we're gonna cut a little slice off the tape. All right, once we have a little slice off the tape, this tape is gonna go on the sticky side of the tape, right in the middle of the tape. So now what we have is, we have sticky, the not sticky, and the sticky part, right? What's gonna happen is now this tape, the non-sticky part is gonna go right over the hole, centered up, right? So now we have sticky, non-sticky, and sticky right there. So now literally we're making a space so that the air could come out of this port off the sides, but the tape will allow the vacuum to stick down. You know, I buy these cool little lids that are unfortunately no longer available, but you could pretty much do the same thing, and you know, this tape, you could just, you know, it'll wear out, the adhesive might wear out, but you could just get some more and make another one of these things, right? So once again, we're just doing the same technique where we're making like, you know, a little channel for the air to come out, sticky, not sticky, sticky, put that right over the center of the top. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go ahead and take your vacuum pump and put that right over the sticky thing, over the tape, and you're gonna press the button. What's gonna happen now is that if you guys look closely, we're just sucking the extra air out of this little space and maybe some air out of the mixture if the vacuum pump is strong enough, right? Once we pull this off, we're gonna go ahead and press this button. We can pull it off, and now I like to suck it again. It'll go off immediately because it senses, oh, I can't pull any more vacuum, so we're gonna turn off immediately. What happens now is, you've now stored this jar without any air in it because we sucked the extra air out, as evidenced by this lid is now concave. If you look at the little top here where the little pinhole is, it's sucking the tape into the hole, right? And now we can turn this upside down because this is completely sucked in. I wanna also show you guys real quick on this one, when we suck the air out of this, sometimes when you do it not under vacuum, there's extra air bubbles in there that may get sucked out during the time you're sucking the air out. Oh yeah, look at that, you see that? Oh my gosh, this is rising up. This one did not rise because we're literally sucking the extra air out, and it's basically causing this to lift up because of all the air bubbles in there that we're sucking out. So yeah, wow, that's insane. So we're gonna go ahead and remove that. We're gonna go ahead and suck some more. Yeah, so anyways, you saw the rise in there because that's all the air bubbles. Now, if you wanna get the air bubbles out, how you could do that is you can tap this on the bottom, and that'll make all the air bubbles in there come out. So you can just tap it on the counter a bunch. You might be able to get it to come down a little bit. Oh yeah, we're tapping it out. You can see the air bubbles rising to the top. And then, you know, just to be sure, I could just go ahead and resuck it again. I think we're pretty much sucked out to the maximum this vacuum pump can do. And once again, this lid is completely sucked down, concave. Turn this over, it's not dropping off. So now both these are stored under vacuum. And you know, this one I wouldn't store for long because even though we're stored under vacuum, which is great, we made it not under vacuum. So there's a lot of dissolved air in there that was evidence as when we sucked the air out, it rose up. We sucked the air out of this, it did not rise up because there was hardly any air in there to suck out. So now I want to show you guys how you can meal prep. So we got a jar here, and Lissa has mixed up that salad. So now we got to transfer this salad in the jar. I have like canning funnels that make this job a little bit easier. But today we're just gonna scoop it one scoop at a time so we don't drip all over the counter. One last.
Gotta get it all.
All right, so now that we got it all into the jar, the next step is we want to vacuum save this. So you saw how we could do that with the tape, but there's another way you could do this if you don't want to use tape, you don't want to pop holes in the top of your lids, and you could do that with the jar, the blender crab itself. So you're going to go ahead and put a lid on the jar, and then you're going to go ahead and take a ring. You're just going to put the ring on here just to come in contact with the lid to keep it in place, but you're not gonna like crank it down to tighten it. You're gonna then take the jar and drop this in to the blender carafe, and then you're gonna go ahead and take your lid and put the lid on top of the carafe, and then you're gonna go ahead and take your pump and you're gonna turn your pump on. What's happening now is because this jar is in the carafe and we're sucking a vacuum on the carafe, it is pulling out from the jar the air, and it's pumping it out from the space between the lid and the glass right now. So it's coming out the sides, and you can't see that happening, but it's happening because we'll pull this off and I'll show you guys that it is also, we suck the air out of this. To open these guys that are already sucked down, you could, number one, like use your nails and crank it up. You could also use something like this to like get in there, to wedge it in there and pry it up. And the easy way to do this is you could actually just pull the tape up, and then it'll let the vacuum out, and then you could easily take this off. Like my parents have a hard time pulling these guys off like this, but I store them like this all the time, and I don't have a problem like using my nails and popping it up. But some people might not be that strong. So this way is a lot easier to get open than the way that we're doing it inside there, that you literally have to just use force to, pop this up. But once again, this does not require you to, pop holes in lids or anything. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take the vacuum off this, and let's see if this worked. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and take the lid off this, and this is already punched down, and if I did this and it wasn't that under vacuum, this would just drop out on me. So now this is under vacuum, and what I do is I'll just take this and store it in my fridge, and you could store this literally, I'd store it easily for 3 to 4 days without any issues. I mean, some of my stuff that I do like this stores a bit longer, but we did pre-put the salad dressing on here. Surely you could take this to work today or tomorrow, the next day, and eat it. Now your greens may get a little bit soggy if you pre-mix your dressing. So if you want to do it separately, you could just put lettuce in a jar and then suck a vacuum on it, and then you can put your dressing in like a smaller jar with a different lid and then suck a vacuum on that, and then take these to work and then combine them later. I don't like to do that because it's like makes extra jars to clean. So this is how you guys could now food prep, meal prep, have better taste sensations, meal prep, so that you don't have to like go without raw food. So you don't have to stop at like the fast food joint on the way home, because you always will have fresh salad to eat that you made like on your day off when you are available and free. All right, Lissa, so what are your comments on, because you haven't seen me do any of these techniques, so that now you could store and prepare things like in advance, make food to go if you're traveling. Like I don't take things in zipper sealed bags. I just take whole salads like in my cooler, already saved like this, kept cold. Very important, keep it cold. Just because it's vacuum sealed doesn't mean you don't need to refrigerate it. Now you still need to refrigerate it. What are your thoughts on vacuum storing your dressings?
This is like
and all this stuff?
mind-blowing, seriously. Like even as raw foodies, or if you're on a health journey or whatever, there's always new things to learn. And to be open to learning these new things is just, that's the beauty of it, right? We learn from each other. So now, like, we can make like like a quad or like an 8 times batch of dressing and seal it like this, and we can have it in the fridge ready to go. Because I mean, I don't have a 9 to 5 job where I go to an office or anything like that, and it's harder to eat here at home because like you don't want to get out of your workflow and go make a salad or whatever. So I find meal prep in the morning to be so beneficial to make your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner right away, so you don't have to worry about it during the day. And I tell people that too, like make everything in the morning so you don't have to do it later on, because at the end of the day, it's like...
I know, you don't feel like doing stuff, then you're just gonna grab the crafty. Trust me, if I didn't pre-make my food, like I would be eating, well, I wouldn't be eating crap, but I'd be eating like freeze-dried or like dates and like just...
You go for what's easy.
It's because they're easy, because I'm lazy.
Yeah, right?
I'll admit it.
And we're all human, right? It's not like we're all superhuman when we eat this way, but it makes it so much easier to prepare. And I'm like really excited to make some soups and curries and chilies and everything, and then vacuum seal them and have them for like an easy lunch.
Few days, yeah.
An easy lunch, and you only need to prep on Sundays and Wednesdays would be easily the ideal,
done.
right? And then in some cases, if you made like a batch for like an entire week, you could do that too. Like it's so easy to do raw food.
And you should just do it.
Yeah.
Like it just makes sense to do it.
And I've had a lot of people message me and say, hey Lissa, I normally food prep on a Sunday, so like moving over to raw food, how can I do that? And I'm like, well, it's best to make things fresh and everything, so it's like a little harder to make batches. Now this way, you can batch prep on Sunday and have everything ready for the week, and you don't have to think about it. Because that's the thing, people, their lives are so busy and they don't want to be prepping and spending all this time in the kitchen. And yes, it does take time, but you're saving time by making bigger batches and being able to save it for longer periods of time.
Absolutely. And I would say this is that, you know, making things fresh is always best. I'm never gonna say this is better than fresh. I mean, if I just want to make a salad and I go out to my garden, pick everything fresh, and then make a dressing fresh, vacuum of course, and then eat it right there and there, that's the best. I'm not gonna say that's bad, but I'm gonna say, even me, I don't get to do that every day. I have a busy life. I got 3 different YouTube channels, I got my life to run, I got all kinds of things happening, and I can't make it fresh every day. I would love to do that. Maybe if I had like a private chef to do that, I could do that, but it's just me doing all my food prep. So I do things in big batches. I can make a big salad prep batch in like an hour, and then I divvied it up into 5 jars this week, and each jar took me like less than 15 minutes, and now for 15 minutes, you know, each day I'm now eating healthy, right? And the other thing I want to mention, you guys, because we're talking about this, is I want you guys, if you guys are gonna store things in a vacuum like this, it's best not to open it up, take a little bit out, and then re-vacuum it, because now you're letting the air in. We want to just suck out the air once and not open it and expose it to air until you're ready to use it. So the better way would be to just put it in smaller jars so that you can now just open the jar up, use the whole jar's worth, instead of having to open this up, use half and then reseal it, right? I want to share that. I mean, that's another fine point that I've learned, because I used to make juices like a shot. I used to make my ginger turmeric shots in a big jar. I'd open it up and then re-vacuum it every day. And by the end of the week, the taste would be nasty because I've been oxidizing every time I open it. But now I put my ginger shots in little small jars and I have like 9 of these in the fridge, and I just drink 1 a day, and I only open it when I'm gonna drink it. So it's a lot better. All right, so I want to do one more final demo for you guys, something that really, really will impact your life, which is a smoothie demo, because I know you guys as raw foodies, maybe people that eat healthily, are making a lot of smoothies. And let me tell you guys, vacuum blending smoothies is the next level. All right, so next we're gonna go ahead and do a raw food smoothie, which is basically just a fruit smoothie. But if you're doing greens, especially important to vacuum blend. So first we're gonna always add the water in. We got even amounts of water. Next, we're gonna add the fruits. And Lissa, you guys make a lot more smoothies. You guys drink smoothies every day for breakfast?
Yes, we do.
So this is like fresh mango, frozen bananas, and frozen strawberries, and 2 dates for sweetness.
2 dates for sweetness. And we are actually also going to add some Irish moss.
Oh, Irish moss.
Yeah. So we have this Irish moss gel, And we have been loving adding this to our lives. Like, this is so cool.
So what is Irish moss?
It's a sea moss, and it's really high in all kinds of stuff, like minerals and collagen. So it's like the vegan collagen, basically.
Good fiber. It'll thicken up your smoothies. It's easier to.
Yeah.
You could just buy the Irish moss and then make your own mixture, or you could buy it pre-made from some people.
Yep. And it's been a game changer in a lot of my recipes too. Because
how does it change?
It gives it like a different consistency without having to use fats.
Oh, it's like a thickener.
Yeah, it's like a thickener. Yeah, so you can make like jellies and.
Oh wow.
I add it to those pepperoni sticks to give it that like kind of like a pepperoni
After
texture.
dehydrated?
While it's being like into the mix, I add it, and I add it to burger patties too, because it gives it that consistency. It's also good in wraps, so that they're more flexible without using as much like hemp or chia or fat. Yeah, this is like next level. Cool. And it's the base ingredient in my green onion cakes, coming in my next recipe book.
Man, I gotta use some of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. So here we go.
All right, so to blend in this blender, we just gotta put the lid on. It's really simple, real easy. And we're ready to go. But Lissa has to go through the process over there.
And it does take a little extra time, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. It's what, 30 seconds?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe if that.
60 seconds. Depends. See, here's the thing. It depends how empty your carafe is. So the fuller your carafe, the less air it has to pump out, right? And you can see, actually, if you guys look closely on there, you can see the air bubbles like rising out of, some of the spaces in the bottom here. If you want that to happen better, you want to be anal, you can tap this, and more air bubbles will, come out a little bit easier than just allowing the pump to do it, because you're kind of helping them break free.
Yeah, it's like soda in a way. You can see.
Yeah, you can see the air bubbles coming out. That's the air bubbles that would oxidize your food, and also the air in the chamber that's being mixed in as you're blending traditionally.
Yep, and it's at this point when you're waiting, you're chopping other stuff.
Yeah, you're doing your next meal prep, and then you just come back, okay, it's done now, I can blend it up. Or you could go run to the bathroom real quick, or check your Instagram, your text messages.
Exactly. All right.
So we're just gonna go ahead and start this off on low and then crank it up to high again?
Yeah.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
All right.
There we go.
All right, there's our smoothies. Let's get on this guy. We just pull the lid off easily.
Yep, and then on this
that
one.
guy, you gotta let it look. See how that sunk down?
Yeah.
And now she's gonna use the trick to pull up while you're pulling the lid off.
So much easier.
That's a little bit more difficult to pull the lid off on that, because it has to make an airtight seal.
Look at the color difference.
Yeah, you guys see the color difference? Let's pour that out so they can see it easily.
Yeah.
Put the jars up there. Oh wow, you see the difference?
Wow.
Big difference in the color.
Very big difference. Oh my goodness.
Like, look at the color on this. If you're taking Instagram pictures, I mean, this is deep, rich red, and this is like pink. Maybe you like pink. But yeah, look at the color difference. It's totally amazing. Now, here's the next thing that'll be cool, right? We're gonna go ahead and do one of those tape lids on this guy. And if we drink this smoothie right now, actually, we should do a taste test.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and try the non-vacuum blended first, the one that's nice and pink and aerated.
It's aerated, you can see all the bubbles.
But for a lot of you guys, this is normal, because this is what you drink. You drink your aerated smoothies, and this is what you're used to every single day.
Cheers.
Cheers. To me, honestly, this tastes like I'm drinking foam, like a beer head.
It does.
Like,
yes.
because I never drink, number one, I barely drink smoothies. I drink more juices than smoothies. But and I don't drink beer either. But this tastes so foamy to me.
Very foamy. Definitely, I agree. It almost doesn't have the same flavor that...
It tastes like muted,
Yeah.
like, all right, yeah, it's
Muted.
a smoothie.
Muted is a really...
All right, now check it. Like, look at that one. Like, nice deep red. All right. Wow.
It's like night and day.
What a game changer.
Right?
Oh, we gotta get Nate in here to try
I know,
this, man.
Nate, get in here.
All right, let's try this out. What do you guys got going on over here? Look at the color difference between
Right?
those two. Okay, so this is
This is the foam.
Yeah, and I mean, just looking at it, I don't know if I want to drink this, but
Because you haven't been drinking. Well, yeah, a month ago you would have drank it fine, like no problem. And now that you've been experiencing the vacuum blender.
Foam, right?
It's delicious for sure. But so foamy.
Yeah, very foamy.
Just because of the fact that I know what I'm going to be getting over here with the vacuum blend. I mean,
because actually you made this almost similar recipe for breakfast this morning.
Right. It's no BS. I mean, look at I see in the camera here. Like, look at the color difference.
The color difference is unreal. Same ingredients.
So it makes sense.
Same mango was in both.
You're blending in so much air into it. Okay, here we go.
I know, just that first touch of the tongue.
Yeah, like you get more flavor intensity. It's like stronger. It's like, whoa, I'm really tasting strawberries instead of like with the air. I'm tasting air. I mean, you get some flavor, but it just kind of doesn't taste like. It just tastes like.
It's so thick.
Yeah, no,
too.
there's no comparison. Like,
it's so thick.
You have to try it to
Incredible.
Understand.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear us all day, and I'm not paying these guys off. I mean, they're just convinced because they use it.
We were like, John, and he's like, I know, I've been trying to tell people. I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to how can we get the word out? People need to understand. It's so delicious. It's so incredible.
It's next level.
It
takes your diet to the next level by just changing your blender crap.
It changes the game as much as, like, say, jumping from like an Oster blender
cheap blender to a Vitamix.
To a Vitamix. Like, that's a game changer. Yeah, this is
next level.
Only thing that we don't use the vacuum blender for now is when we make the ice cream, because we need the tamper.
Can't use the tamper, so you got to make your smoothies maybe not quite as thick.
Yeah.
I also noticed that if you add a little bit extra water, plus the blades from this craft work better than the Vitamix.
Oh, that's what you think. So
So
I thought that
sucks
it was opposite. Like, I thought the Vitamix blades worked a little bit more efficiently, but maybe they improved the blades on there.
It's interesting because they have the Vitamix blade in there, but then there's also another blade in there that is shaped like up.
Yeah.
So it really, like,
sucks
something,
it right in.
something happens where it really pulls down. But the dressings that we've been making, and like you're saying, the curries and the soups, because soup, like even when we would do like a tomato soup or whatever, it would take a while. Like you'd have to kind of stir it to get the air to get out of there. Now there's no air. It's like, perfect. I love it. Thanks for you guys.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, so I want to show you guys actually pulling the air out of these two. So this was vacuum blended. It's a lot deeper in color. We're going to go ahead and suck the air out of this. We're going to see if this rises, and we're going to see if this color changes or anything. So as you guys can see, we're sucking it out, and it's maybe coming up a little bit because, you know, even though it's under vacuum, there's still a little bit of air in there, but it's not rising too much. You want this to happen better. You can maybe tap it down a little bit, but yes, that definitely did rise up a little bit, and I like always do it twice just to make sure we get all the air out. But now watch on this side. This is rising, it's still rising, it's still rising, it's still rising. There's so much air in there, it's still rising. Oh my God, it's gonna overflow. Look at that, it's still rising. Oh, we better stop. Don't go too far because your pump will suck up the freaking junk and then it'll mess up your pump. But dude, it's still rising.
Oh my goodness.
All right, now I think we're at maximum rise. But look at that. Look how much extra air is in there. It's just totally inflated. And look at the color, man. It's so insane. Once again, now you could store this smoothie in your fridge. You know, I wouldn't store it more than 3 days, but it tastes gonna be, as long as you keep it cold, and make sure you put, if you're gonna store stuff under vacuum, I recommend between 33 degrees and 35 degrees optimally. The colder you store it, the longer it's gonna store. Right? But even if you store this for 3 days, it's pretty much going to taste the same way it tastes right now. Now, if you store this for 3 days, yes, you made it without vacuum, but you store it under vacuum, it's still going to taste like, it's still going to taste foamy in a couple, 3 days. Now, because it's in here, we can tap this down. You might get a little air bubbles out, but it's not, there's still so many air bubbles in there.
You can see them all down the sides and everything.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. If we do a close-up on there, you can totally see so many air bubbles in there.
And there's like
there's
nothing.
very
There's like
few.
maybe one
There's
or
a
two.
few air bubbles in there. Look, we'll hold this up close so I don't get to see that. Lots of air bubbles in here. Very few air bubbles in here. I'm not going to say there's no air bubbles because that wouldn't be accurate, but there's very few air bubbles in there that have oxidized your food or taken away the flavor or given you more foam. Maybe you like more foam, stick with your standard blender, but if you're in for the flavor, the taste, the bloating,
the nutrition,
you guys gotta go for the vacuum blender. Don't wait any longer. All right, Lissa, any final comments or things you'd like to share about vacuum blending with my audience today?
I'm just really excited to share with all of my followers as well and implement it even more into our lives, into our food prep, because like, as you said, like we're busy. We've got our YouTube channel, I've got recipe books that I'm creating and other big projects on the go. So like food prep is a problem. It doesn't matter if you're a raw foodie or if you work 9 to 5 or if you have 6 kids. It doesn't matter. Food prep is going to take time. And this is just like, it's going to change the game. Saving time and it's worth it to do because we have to take care of ourselves. If we want to take care of our 6 kids, if we want to take care of our businesses, if we want to do all these things in our lives, we have to take care of ourselves first. And like investing in something like this is next level for your self-care. And it's important for you to be able to help others, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I'm always about putting yourself first, so.
No, it's so important. I mean, you got to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else or your business or anything in life. And that's why, you know, I encourage you guys to eat a nutrient-dense, plant-based, fruit and vegetable-dominated diet. And by using the vacuum blender, you know, it'll take your diet to the next level. And I mean, I'm all about helping people out and letting them know technologies and things that you may not hear anywhere else. And there's very few people talking about vacuum blending online. I've seen the difference it makes. Now, if you use your Vitamix to make margaritas, don't bother wasting your money on a vacuum blender. But you're blending things like berries and high antioxidant foods and leafy greens and kale. You want to preserve more of these nutrients, and especially because now you can store them, you know, not only you can store your foods like bananas so they don't brown in your fridge and go bad. You can have less food waste and more nutrition for you guys in the end. Now, finally, Lissa, I want you to highlight some of your recipe books. Like if somebody wants to buy one of your recipe books because your recipes taste amazing, what are the best ones that somebody should buy?
Sure, so I have 3 meal plans right now, and for those who are new to the raw vegan diet, meal plan 3 is the easiest because there is no dehydrator required and there's no nuts.
That's this one right here, right?
That's this one right here. This is meal plan 3.
And that has all different meals for like a whole day or a week or a month?
For a whole month.
Oh my gosh.
30 days and 90 recipes. So you're eating a different breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day. There's shopping lists in here. There's 3-day shopping lists if you want to do every 3 days going for shopping for the 3 days. So this is the best one for beginners, again, because there's no dehydrator. So if you just invested in the vacuum blender.
And so like you don't really use a juicer that much like I do.
No,
so you could basically use a blender and your book and you'd be set. You could meal prep and make food for the month. Maybe like
exactly.
A couple times a month.
Exactly. We also have a brand new app that we just released a couple months ago, and that one's really good for beginners too because you could technically have all of the meals in the app and you could make them all on like Sunday and you could have all your meals ready to go with
in
the
jars.
vacuum. Yeah, so that's at www.rawfoodromance.com and it's $5 a month or $50 a year, but there's new recipes added every single month to that one. The second most popular book that I have is the Dips and Dressings book, because this one has 48 no-fat dressings,
Cool.
24 low-fat, which is seeds, and then I think about 20 or so higher-fat ones. So this is really good for those who are looking for low-fat options. There's 117 recipes in here, and this is one of the most popular ones. But recently, I just released the burger book and the soup book, so these are really fun for making different raw food stuff. If you have the time, if you have a weekend or a party that you want to go to, or you just want to impress somebody with some awesome raw food, the burger book or the soup book. Yeah, I've got about 10 books, but people can just, and I'm always creating more because
So I think maybe
creator
buying the
at heart.
app is the best because you can get a sampling of all the different things in all the different books without having to buy a book.
Yeah, exactly. And I also do have some free recipes on my Instagram. So if people wanted to try a couple different dressings, they can head over to my Instagram at rawfoodromance and check out the free guides section under recipes. I'm always adding new stuff there too, so.
Cool, awesome, Lissa. So I'm going to put links down below to her Instagram, her webpage, and her app, and all that kind of stuff, so you guys can check her out. I would definitely recommend her recipes because I really like how Lissa has a wide range. She has, you know, no fat, medium fat, and high fat, or whatever you want to call it. and has all different kinds of things so that it'll make it easier for you. Because I come up, after 26 years of being a raw foodist, I just come up with recipes on my own, out of my brain, and that's what I make, and every time it's different, and I'm not really good at writing that recipe, but I can definitely vouch that Lissa has some good tasting stuff. Everything that I've come over here and eaten tastes amazing. So yeah, check her out for sure. I guess in the end of this episode, I really want to encourage you guys, get a vacuum blender. Seriously, it'll change your life. It'll allow you to eat healthier, store your foods, less food waste. And yeah, get the BioChef unit from me. Link is down below to that. And I don't even care if you don't get the BioChef. If you have a Vitamix, that's easily the way to go because, you know, for an easy investment, you can, you know, a little bit more than Vitamix would sell you just a plain carafe for. You can have a BPA-free carafe with that storage system, with the vacuum pump and everything you need to do it. But if you don't get that, I don't care. Get a different brand vacuum blender. There's one on eBay I recommend for $69 right now until they sell out, which is going to happen pretty soon. Or another one. I haven't tested all of them, but I definitely recommend BioChef. BioChef coupled with a Vitamix is definitely one of the best ways you guys can go. If you don't have a Vitamix, you know, you can find a used Vitamix motor on like a site like OfferUp or Craigslist for pretty cheap, sometimes like $100, and then get the top for it, and then you're gonna be pretty much bulletproof and have a solid solution so that you guys can be blending healthier today.
So thank you so much, John. This has been like one of the most awesome Friday afternoons to have you over and show us all this cool stuff. Like, I had never seen this.
Yeah, this is the first time I'm showing it here on your channel on YouTube, because I've never shown this technique that I've been thinking about for a while, and you know, now's the time.
Here it is, right now. So yeah, I'm just so grateful. Is there anything that you'd like to share with my viewers before we go? Share your channel and all that jazz.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I want to encourage you guys that are into raw foods to take it to the next level, not only by vacuum blending that you guys learned about today, but even better than that is growing your own food. I'm really passionate about growing your own food because I want to preserve more nutrients in the food that I'm preparing, but how do you get the food with the most nutrients in the first place? Grow it yourself. I teach that at growingyourgreens.com. Of course, if you want to check out my raw food channel, I share my crazy raw food tips with everybody. You know, I've been doing this for a long time. I have a different, like, you know, mindset and tips than you'll normally hear on most raw food channels. Some of my ideas are a bit far out, and I look at some of the science and try to implement that into my life. Is at okraw.com. And of course, if they want to get that BioChef vacuum blender, they can get that at discountjuicers.com. Also, my YouTube channel for my juicer channel is youtube.com/raw foods, where I have other videos on vacuum blending if you need to get a whole vacuum blender, the high-end ones, or even just a slow juicer that'll oxidize, you know, the nutrients a lot less than a high-speed juicer would. But I even advocate vacuum juicing with the vacuum blender, so you can blend up your mixture and then put it through a nut milk bag, and actually that will make even a higher quality juice than one of the juicers I was selling.
Wow, such valuable information. Thank you so much, John. I'll have all the links in the description box below so you guys can head over there, check it out. Follow John on Instagram, Growing Your Greens, and follow him on all the YouTube channels and all that jazz. But thank you for joining for this epic video, and until the next one, Fruit on.
So now I want to show you guys how you can meal prep with a
Yeah, love it.
These are the best. I love
That's incredible! It's like the show in the 80s.
I know,
Yeah,
so awesome.
it was like, I'm like, holy shit.
Still going, still going.
It's gonna blow up.
It's more solid. Now the cool thing about vacuum blending, once you vacuum blended, right, you didn't damage the nutrients as much. So now actually we should do a taste test on this small extra stuff. We'll try the good one first.
Yeah. Well, we can get other jars.
Yeah, let's do the other one first.
Be able to make your own vacuum sealable lids for a mason jar.
With electrical tape.
With electrical tape, bro. So sick.
So, John, would you recommend I get the vacuum blender or just optimize my current Vitamix?
Oh, you have a Vitamix now?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you just need a vacuum blend somehow. I don't care how you do it. I mean, get a BioChef. I mean, Nate and Lissa will love theirs.
Yeah, we got the BioChef, bro. It fits right on the Vitamix base.
Okay, hook me up.